Hello guys, I'll be telling you why Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the greatest film ever. You may be thinking, what is the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? And why is it the greatest movie ever? Well, today, I'll explain that to you. The first reason why Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the greatest film ever is first, the action scenes. In 40 minutes and 44 seconds into the film, Abraham Lincoln, he's chasing down the vampire who killed his mother, and so he has to avenge his entire family honor. So he's going through this horse race and everything, going through this big patch of horses, trying to chase down and kill this vampire that killed his mom. Then the vampire grabs the horse, spins, throws it at Abraham Lincoln. And guess what? Abraham Lincoln takes that like a champ. The second best action scene in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is this train scene, because him and his buddy, who he's been friends with since he is a kid, his buddy's on top trying to do some stuff to the train, and Abraham Lincoln's just slicing people. And it's pretty cool because in one of the scenes he hits his axe against the thing, grabs his axe so he kind of lifts himself and then decks a vampire in the face, which is pretty cool, you know. The third best scene in the movie, probably my favorite scene in the movie, is when Willie Lincoln dies. Basically, he's playing with his little toys and stuff, and then a maid walks in to go say hi to him or whatever. It's like, oh, what is that sword? And then bites him on the wrist, and then he's like, dying. Pretty great scene, all in all. The second reason why Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the greatest film ever is the cast. The best actor in this entire movie is Anthony Mackie, because he plays Falcon in Marvel, and it's Anthony Mackie, you know? Everybody loves Anthony Mackie. Right, Jaden? You love Anthony Mackie, don't you?
I can't break the fourth wall.
Yes, we can. The second best reason why the cast is the greatest cast in film history for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is Tim Burton produced it. I know he's not an actor in the movie, but it's Tim freaking Burton. One of the greatest horror directors ever. And he's just in a random Abraham Lincoln movie, which I think is pretty cool. And finally, the third best cast member in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is Rufus Sewell. I don't know who that guy is whatsoever, but I kind of recognize his face, kind of. And he plays the big bad vampire guy, which, that's cool. The third reason why Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the greatest film ever is the plot. You may be like, oh, what's the plot of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? Is it just him killing vampires? And you would be right. Kind of. So, the first third of the movie is basically Abraham Lincoln. He's a young child, you know, and he has his friend. His friend is a slave, which isn't necessarily great. But, you know, we'll just roll with that. And there's this big bad vampire guy, and he hates his friend, which is pretty bad, you know, because your friends are your friends, you know. And so Abraham Lincoln's like, I don't like you. And then the vampire, while he's sleeping, goes into his house and then kills his mom. Abraham Lincoln's pretty sad because it's his mom, you know, and nobody likes their mom to die, you know. Right, Jaden?
Stop breaking the fourth wall.
And so basically, his mom dies. He's all mad about that, and he's like, I hate vampires now. Then once his dad dies, he's like, I'm gonna kill vampires. Then after his dad dies, he's like, I'm gonna start killing vampires. So then he searches down the vampire who killed his mom when he was 9 years old. He finds him, gets his butt kicked, and is all sad and stuff. And then this guy sees him and is like, hey, I can teach you how to kill vampires. Abraham Lincoln's like, oh, teach me. That'd be pretty cool. And so then this guy, I think his name's Henry, I kind of forgot, teaches Abraham Lincoln how to kill vampires. And basically what Henry says is they can die from silver and garlic and a bunch of stuff. So Abraham Lincoln gets an axe coated in silver with a gun in it, which is pretty cool, you know, because then you can have some scenes where he's shooting with an axe, slicing with an axe, because that's pretty cool all in all. Then after he learns how to kill vampires, Henry sends him on his way to go learn how to kill vampires and stuff. And I just said that, but that's fine. We're going to roll with it. And so then Henry sends him to this town, Springfield. Not like The Simpsons, though. And he goes to this town, And then he's like, I'm gonna kill vampires. And he's like a vampire bounty hunter. And so he gets a job in Springfield as a store clerk or whatever, and he makes some friends, disobeying one of the rules of being a vampire hunter. One of the rules of being a vampire hunter is you can't really make connections, because if you die in the line of work of being a vampire hunter, then your loved ones will go and start killing vampires, which isn't necessarily good, because then it endangers everybody. It creates a cycle, and then everybody is against vampires, and it'll create an entire war. And nobody likes war. Right, Jaden? Finally. That's good. And so then, he's like the store clerk, whatever, you know, and he meets this level 10 baddie, Mary Todd. And he's like, ooh, Mary Todd, you're pretty fine. Like, we should date. So they start dating. Disobeying the rule of vampire hunting again. What is it with Abraham Lincoln breaking the rules? I thought he was our president, which is pretty weird. So then, Abraham Lincoln continues killing vampires until eventually he's finally allowed to go kill the vampire that killed his mom. So he goes out, searches for him, and gets, well, he doesn't necessarily get his butt kicked. He goes through a bunch of patches of horses, like 40 minutes into the movie, and is like, gets a horse thrown at him and a bunch of other stuff, and then shoots the bad vampire guy who killed his mom in the eye. And he thinks, oh, that's great. I killed him. That's what he thinks. So after he thinks he kills the big bad vampire, he steps away from vampire hunting and thinks, hey, now that I'm not a vampire hunter, what's the second best thing to being a vampire hunter? That's closest to being a vampire hunter, but not a vampire hunter. So he thinks of jobs like that and becomes the president of the United States of America. And so then he does that, right? Because, you know, if you're done killing vampires, why won't you just become the president of the United States? Why not, you know? Just accepting side quests now. And so then becomes the president of the United States. Does president stuff, you know? Like, does a bunch of cool president stuff. Because it's Abraham Lincoln. And then, little does he know, his child, Willie Lincoln, goes and dies. And he's like, I remember this. The symptoms were the same as my mother. He was killed by a vampire. So then Abraham Lincoln grabs his dusty old axe gun thing, and then goes back into killing vampires. Because he needs to avenge his mom and his son. Because, yeah. So then he goes back to vampire hunting. And then he kills a bunch of vampires. And that's basically the end of the movie.
Thanks
Thanks for watching, guys. That sucked.